Midagami. Le Uglagamatiachas, Levan Wahina. Le Khashi, Nakhola, the Khanta Hawaga. Le Haimbiha Ubakaka. Khashi Phil, Tuigo. Khanta in Le Wanashi Hawaga. And a little boy of Shichi. So, little him now. No. Nakuki Chichuki. Wolakoto. And now, Washichu. So, Isha Lila. And a couple of Isha Lakotia. Nachumna, nasz takukowie na trzecia kena, ukachta się, washichu. Come this morning in a sad way to memorialize someone, a relative, a friend. And we've known him for many years. Phil Tuigo lost his son yesterday, Akichita. Very young man, and he had kids. And I was just told that he was back on leave. And it's hard to put words together when things like this happen. And when we try to come together and be with all our friends and relatives, like today. And we'd like to remember Phil for his encouragement, for his stamina, his woksabe, his wisdom. For many, many years. I really enjoyed our conversations. Every morning, he makes his contacts with everybody. And when he calls, he has some good words for the people. And I learned that from him. But I called him Misu. He didn't know I was older than him. It's an honor that I was asked to come up here and speak on behalf of Khashi Phil Tuigo and memorialize his passing of his son. So some of these things that we need to think about are Lakota protocols, our ceremonies, songs. These are things that he liked and he lived for. And I'm honored that Khoshka, Nick, asked me to come up here and talk on his behalf. So I'd like everybody to think and say prayers for Khashi Phil Tuigo. And we're going to be strong for him today as we go forward with this, the Sacred Black Hills Act. The things that we are going to come together and we think of Phil. these are things that it's woyukshija, but we have to move forward. And we say our own prayers in our own special way. I'd like to say thank you to the singers for the songs that are going to be sung for his encouragement at this time. My name is Harry Little Thunder. I'm from Eagle Butte, Shine River. I'm part Galala and Rosebud and Shine River. So I'd like to say, give courage to and prayers to Khamishi Phil. So at this time, I'm going to turn this mic back to Khamishi Robert.
Opila. At this time, I'm going to ask you to, for a moment of silence on behalf of Bill's son, who's in the military. Okay, you may be seated. I'm going to call Chauncey Richard Moveston, or Chauncey Jim Radical to come up and talk about meeting protocol here. So if you will.
Well, lägger vi tankar vi chante da ju har inte chigalustoppen na persjuza bolo. O justi na ko ojukishi är. Na kommer ni och jag till chakua äti. Na osper chakui chachi chapik ta chanke och jag till chajeniana. Och hela vart han leja hit. Och chanke ja. Hoe hoor ik ga je hapje? Ja, hij nam gewoon. Dat komen niet. Weet je dat kwam? Dus ik zeg dat je een hoofd keer laat. Oké. Dat was zeker dat je het zelf te gaan. Want wat ik het zelf wil, maar kort zo wat ga je ook laten. Maar je kan de honden die maar kort je wat kan willen. En dan heb je we chance dat je dan aga hebben maar kort je gaan. Na kitchen. Och hela vakade och när alla jag hinner liksom. Och chansa när vi har störste jag hippie kolla. Och jag tycker det var chinia på då. När vi såg ju inte ha. Och sen kan jag avliga jag på och jag tycker det dock är snart chokada. Tack och i världen kan man jag tycker då. Och jag tycker då I want to thank my nephew, the collective, Indian collective, Mr. Chilson and his staff, his associates, and the tribal governments for helping us come together today. And we hear our relatives going through difficult times, losing loved ones. Well, prayers go out to the families. You are here because each and every one of us in this room are the Black Hills. Makoche Wakha is alive and well. It's a spirit of a woman, the Black Hills. A spirit of our mothers. The soul of our mothers lies within the sacred hills. For many generations, our people have been standing up, fighting for the return of our mother. Today, I'm very proud of each and every one of the relatives for taking a position and making a struggle, continuing the struggle for this cause that's been instilled to us and synchronized in our consciousness by our ancestors. We have to continue. I thank each and every one of the beautiful people, my precious relatives, for your time being here. It is time to put our minds together, agree that we all have to stand up for our sacred mom. I just want to say thank you for each and every one of you. Our generation is coming. What you do here, you lay a foundation for our people. It's not about us, it's about our future generation. Doksha Kokata Makoche, our mother will return to us. It will return to us pretty sure, because all of you are working together today. All of you are agreed that we need to stand up for our Makoche, Chesapa. For many generations, they said we are part of the earth. When I look at the Badlands, I cannot believe it. They look like my brother-in-laws. Actually, I want to thank all of you for your hard work.
Okay, Mr. Ready Go.
Advocacy, Jim Ready Go Bacha. Damakota na Malakota. Chegakina Nakoda Beate. Sintaluta, Saskatchewan. Wamnina Dabina, Nakojia Diabino. Sintejak, Yuharu Chashta. I was invited here. My name is Jim Redigal. I come from Carry the Kettle First Nation. I'm primarily known as Nakota. But I had a Kushi. She was Humpapa. Her name was Lucille Goodvoice, Owashte. Come up with Sitting Bull. That was her grandpa. Then I had a grandpa. His name was Shakawi. He was Ogallala. He came down from Canada and he stopped in Montana, my father's from. I'm going to talk a little bit before about what I have. A long time ago, I was given a whip, Sentecha. With this whip, the Wahunkukia na Unkichiabi Ahokichiba. They told me things, so I have respect for this. And this comes with teachings. Just like if you're given a viajo, a whistle, that's the true name for a whistle, viajo. It comes with teachings. And one of the teachings is, I can't just go and use this anywhere. I have to be invited. The Sinte Vichasha, this comes from the Grass Dance Society, but it was also used in our camp circles. They told me stories about how it was used and how to use it. It's above everything. My ceremony is dance, the grass dance. I come from medicine. My grandfathers, my uncles, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandfather, my great-great-great-grandfather. But when I was a young age, they gave me this. I've run over 44 celebrations. At home, I'm the one that takes around the staff when they pick new committee, and I go get them and bring them forward. Long time ago, one of the stories they told me that a chief was told they were going to move the camp circle, and he refused. So they sent the whipman over there and said, you need to come with the people that look to you for leadership. Again, he said no. So he slapped that chief in front of everybody. That chief packed his camp. This is a story that was shared with me about how it's used. Nowadays, we don't use this much. In the grass dance ceremony, that's my ceremony. we use this still. Some celebrations, they use it. It's to keep order. We are kaki chupi. I could pick up a feather. You snuck. I could pick up things that have fallen. I could stop a drum. I could take a whistle for abusing it. Each notch represents a time when they went on the Zuya. There are no feathers attached to it, just this. This comes from Zitana Wiko. Before that, Hepata, crazy bird, weasel horn. I've carried this since I was in my 20s. I was invited to come here and use it. Long time ago, if they had two, they would go in opposite directions of each other. There's a song that goes with this. Yeah, hey, 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 ha, yeah, hey, hey, yo, hey, ha, hey, ha, yeah, hey, ha, yo, hey, hey, oh, hey, ha, yo, oh, hey. Sit there, chat with Chastada, hey, Breche, Apo, Itajabi, Tehekino, Nagedona, hey, that's the song there. In the beginning, the grass dance ceremony, the first song they sing at home. It's also the last song they sing at home. So just share. There's a lot of teachings that I keep to myself, just like when you get a whistle. They give you teachings that come with it. And majority of those teachings, they belong among them. The same thing with this. So they asked me to come and be part of this meeting. And what I'm going to ask of you is to stay on subject, whatever you're talking. Not go off on long tangents, because they have an agenda that they'd like to keep. Remember, Wawashte, be kind, be respectful to each other. Above all, Iwaka. Remember your words are sacred. I asked these guys if they could know a Whitman song. Dude. How you use this is you go around, I said, and you show the people. Once you make a complete circle, you turn and go counterclockwise, and that's when you start using it. They used to say, if you don't respect it, then you shouldn't be here. I grew up with these strict teachings. If there's two Whitmen, one goes one direction, one goes the other. When they meet in the middle, they turn opposite back, and that's when they start using it. If they ask me to use it, I've never done it in this setting, so kind of play it by ear, but like I said, when you talk, keep it specific to your subject and don't go wandering off. Be kind, be respectful to one another. We're here here to bring good thoughts to what we're going to do. And like Kola Rick said, Dickie said it, you know, we want good things from this meeting. So I asked these guys to sing a Woodman song. And I'll go around one time, and I'll come back here, I'll go back. That's how I was taught. Oh, hate to do it.
이 잡승 때 유하 오해충 해쳐요. 오피가 이게 하고 고민이 나 대원시 애공한다 다 고민이 다그 애압나 다그 충비 때문에나 오해하나 나 해쳐도 As you all understand, the purpose of what he said is that there will be order and you will respect it and you will continue to build that foundation for our people. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to take a 7th inning stretch, so please stand, take a deep breath, stretch your arms out. Right after that, we're going to do a roll call. If you don't need it, it's okay. Don't get any donuts though. Okay, we're not on break. We're supposed to be on the 7th inning stretch, so get back over to your area as soon as possible because we're going to a roll call session here. Again, those of you who are representing your Oyate, you will respond with how or ham. when I call the traditional government and the modern government representatives here also will say, that's it. We are trying to practice an orderly meeting, staying on topic, and making sure that the protocol is followed. The word protocol means that we got to do these things, these ways over and over the same way, so that everyone knows that we can follow a civil meeting instead of doing a meeting where everyone is shouting at each other or talking about negative things. As some of our elderly wisdom shared here this morning, your word is powerful. Your voice is welcome. So you come here for a purpose, not only to represent your Oyate, but the children and the future of your particular Oyate. So we know that you can really talk good, but keep your introduction real short, 5 minutes. And each Oyate has a speaker that will speak for them. So remember that. So you'll have 2 speakers, one from the traditional government and the other one from the common modern IRA government. So there'll be 2 of them. And if there is no modern government, just let us know and we'll move on. I kindly thank you for coming back to your area. You're following directions, listening, and doing what is supposed to be done. So we have time limits, and they have set the meeting agreements with the Whitman and our playbook right here. This is a traditional playbook written in English. So we borrowed the English writing system. Hokai, Hokai. Pay attention. When I call your Oyate, I want all of you to stand up and say, one of you say, oh, that's it to it all. If you're a lady, say, Muhipi. All right. Oh, Mekakuepi, wana Oyate, Chajay Chabalati Ktevo. Oglala. Sichahu. Hunk Papa. Menkanju. It does it, Joe. Aho. O Henupa. Sihasapa. Yantane. Ku Wichasha. Santi Dakota Oyate. Ohetsund. Honkpati Oyate. Sisseton Wapton Oyate. Other tree council and tribal representatives here from different Oyate. Oh. Okay, I have three warriors here. They're going to, I believe, explain the meeting purpose of the meeting, and that will be Kahashi Two Dogs and Justin Puyer and Kahashi Bill Means. So you're going to explain why we're here. What is the purpose of this meeting? And after you're done, we're going to, I'll announce that later. So, do I want to come up at the same time, or all of them? Come on up. Yeah. All right. Bill, you can go first. Yeah.
Amerika'yı affettikleri çantayım amaçlayın affettiği takdirde. I hope they sit to tell the reason we're all here. And most of you probably remember that there's been quite a few struggles along the way that involved not only American Indian movement, but Yellow Thunder Camp was a camp where we camped in the Black Hills for over a year, about a year and a half, 2 years. We had a federal court case. We won on the district level, on the appeals. They decided against us, so we didn't take it up to Supreme Court because we wanted to have more people involved like this. It wasn't the right time. That's what the chiefs told us. So we broke the camp, but the spirit is still there. As well, it's been a long struggle because one time, you know, they wanted to give us money, 117 million. I remember, you guys recently remember we got a whole lot of COVID money. I think our reservation alone got over 100 million. It's all gone. Watashi He's here, I won't mention his name, but he's an accountant. He said he's really got a lot of work now because he's going all over to these tribes that are hiring him because they can't account for that money. And they got to figure out a way to justify where it went. That's just our arrest went at Pine Ridge. And I don't indict anybody, but I'll leave that to the courts. Somebody's got to pay. And there's hundreds of millions out there. They only wanted to give us 117 for the whole Black Hills. Just think if we took that money, that would have been gone in about 15 minutes. So anyway, I just want to say that, remember the struggle. Because we went around, we followed these two law firms, Lazarus, Sanasi. Some of them, their descendants still work for some of these tribes. And not only that, they're the only ones that got paid for the Black Hills. The lawyers. Imagine that. We didn't want the money. Lakotas, but we followed them around. They were trying to get all the tribes to agree to the Black Hills settlement, 117 million. But we followed them. We went every reservation, even went up into Montana, up to the reservation up there, well, that other dam is up there, what's that called there? But anyway, Fort Peck. We went up to that reservation. And they all passed the Black Hills are not for sale. But ahead of that, they were all ready to sell, 117 million. So there's a lot of people. We had a caravan. We had fools going there, different old guys, Nellie Redall, Frank Kill's enemy. Some of these old timers riding in them cars, old Indian cars too. We had to take a couple of mechanics because it breaks down every now and then, you know. Well, we went clear up into Montana, over to East River even, Sichuan, Sistance, Standing Rock, all over. People said, we're going to sell a Black Hill. Remember, they used to have a saying, when you owed your brother-in-law some money, you say, don't sell Black Hills. It was even part of our vocabulary, for Christ's sake. Nobody said the Black Hills was sacred. They said, when I get my Black Hills, I'll pay you back. Don't sell Black Hills. So I just want to mention that as part of the struggle. Remember those old timers that were willing to travel with us young people. I was young one time, and that was during that time. They went with us and they explained to the people, Lakota language, what the Black Hills really means. And nobody wanted to sell once they found out. But they didn't know the history. Some of these young people, they don't know much about the Black Hills, but today, I think it's today, they're going to go up to Welcome Back to Thunder, one of our sacred ceremonies. I think somebody will explain that later. So I'll leave that, but I just want to say that background of those old folks, they believe so much. They travel with us. They eat bologna sandwich just like us. I think that's what made them mad, you know. They talk really militant because they ate bologna for about a week. Traveling with us, that makes you mad. They used to call it aim sandwich. Bologna and cheese. Well, by the time you get to your destination, you're madder than hell. You're not going to sell nothing, especially the Black Hills. So remember those people, those old timers. Think about that. Your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle, they didn't believe in selling because the Black Hills meant so much to our people. That's what I want to say, how we got here. This is a beautiful, beautiful audience. Now we got a few tribes missing, so we're going to encourage you. tell them to come next time. Because we're gonna keep doing this until we get this bill, and then after we get the bill, we're gonna take it around. Explain it to all the tribal councils and communities that we can reach. So we've got a lot of work to do, but that's how we got here, in my book. Go ahead, Chichulo.
Okay, we got the tribal government from Ogallala. Is anybody here? A representative here? Oh, there he comes.
Petuaste, Iwa Chantewaste, na Petuzato. Kasanicha Hoaste, Macha, also known as Justin Boyer. So yeah, like she referred, I am part of the Oglala tribe. I'm the fifth member on the executive committee, and that entails me to work with the treaty organizations, treaty issues, and a whole bunch of other stuff it's like it's snowballing, getting bigger and bigger. So, but the first thing, that I did when I got in there was I looked at our Black Hills Sioux Nation Council, and we had it was kind of a mixture of the delegates and everything. So we straightened that all out, got it all approved, and you're talking with like Chiefs, Bill Means, Rick Two Dogs, Richard Moosecap, Richard Broken Nose, and Robert Tucro. One thing that they really wanted to do was try to make an attempt to get the Black Hills back. It was, one thing they grew up here, and like she Bill said, it was even a joke at Doksha Black Hills. But now, as everybody gets older and the ones that went before us, I think it's time that we try something. We introduce something that's gonna, make conversation get started in DC, bring attention to this. So, and then me, Stu, and Nick must have been thinking the same thing at NDN Collective. So they was working on a project to return that. Then when he presented to the Ocheti Shakoi Treaty Conference in that December, I think it was 22, it was kind of caught a lot of everybody by surprise. So, a lot of the treaty councils wanted to step back and asked Nick to hold off on that, and gave him advice on how to proceed. So when we heard that, the Black Hills Nation, the Oglala chapter, they were talking, and they wanted to approach NDN Collective because, all our tribes, we don't have this kind of funding. We don't have the manpower. We don't have the people to do the research. So we approached Nick and asked him, how can we do something that's going to be more, user friendly. So we talked about, we looked at the Bradley bill, and then we start to, then the older gentlemen here, they start sitting down. We had a few meetings before anybody even knew what was going on. We was having meetings to change the wording on that old Bradley bill and change it over to the, and I don't think we ever set on the name for this new act yet. But, well, they did a bunch of homework, they did meetings, and we started inviting everybody else to come. Now we got to this point here. And like Bill also said, once this gets approved, I think with this body, then we're gonna have to go back out and get approval from every tribe on the old Ocheti. So it's a big undertaking, but it's something that me as a, how would you say that, younger elder, is something that I like to see this kind of movement. At least we're trying something to honor these old guys, these older ones, that we're going to help them, at least start this movement. And we all know that a bill or act in DC is going to take a long time, but we need to get this introduced to get the conversation started. So, with that, me and Bill didn't work this out, but he gave the old part history of it. And And then I took over on how we're doing it right now, so, with that, it's still a working document. We still have more meetings to hash out wording. Nick will explain all of that strategy stuff in a bit here. And again, I want to thank Lexi Harry for talking for GA Phil like that. And me and Phil, we do these treaty conferences. We worked a lot together, and like he called me constantly, and he did become a big brother to me. So when he told me that yesterday morning what happened, and we was on our way to another meeting, but he told me what happened. So that kind of struck me, because I know how tough it is to lose a child. So if we can all remember him and his family, his Jewish way, keep our prayers, keep him in our mind to help him endure this time that he's going through. So with that, we talk yesterday.
Just.
One second. I'm going to ask you if you can silence your phones. If you get a conversation on your phone, take it outside. Respect those that are around you so they can hear.
I got an announcement. Someone they have misplaced their nitrogen. You got it right here. You don't want to be known to pick it up. Is that yours? Yeah, I've heard that before. It says crisis, crisis, and no action.
I wanted to ask, does anyone know the amount of land that the U.S. government has in the Black Hills? I'm telling this because I have friends that live throughout the Black Hills, and when the tribes come up talking about the Black Hills, it worries them because they live like customers, Hot Springs, Hill City. They worry that they're going to come and the tribes are going to come and take their townships. We did a little research on that, and I was given a paper, and on this paper, it was a round circle, it's a pie shape. And in that, it showed what townships were very small in this pie. And next is businesses, your businesses like your hardware stores and stuff. Those are very small. And then it has the state parks that are here, and like Jewel Cave and all them. They're very small. So in this pie shape, it's showing that these are the townships, and it goes on. And then the majority of that is all government, U.S. government. That's what, so I took copies and I left one at the Chamber of Commerce in Hot Springs. I left one at the Chamber of Commerce in Custer. Talked with them. And I said, it comes out in the newspaper. You're all worried. Now, these tribes are going to come and take our land and our town. That's not so. I said, the government owns the majority of this Black Hills. These townships are small, and I'm showing this here map, and it's like a pie set and what's in it. And so I said, when they come back, this is a good one. We want back. It's here. And you're in this pie, you're minute. You're really a minute part of it, just sliver of it. So I don't have that map no more. But if you get it, it's going to show you what the U.S. government owns. And when you come up and speak up, now like this, we're doing this, they're gonna come in and fire up these towns that they're doing this and they're gonna take your land, you know, it's scaring them, and then they're gonna fight back. They're getting hold of the Browns and all them, you know. And so now it's got to come up, and you've got to show it, what it is you're after, you know. And this is what we're gonna speak for. We're gonna, it really is our land, so we like to take control, you know. But these townships, no. The parks, no. You know, that is something that it's like a backlash when you come up, all these little towns flare up. And that's not so.
So yeah, that's, the documents on your, feedback. There's, the documents on everybody's table is that bill that we're writing on the next page. So, that there, is all the federal lands of the Black Hills is what we're going after right now. And, we also need to, the last meeting we had that big slide up here that said we're not taking none of that docket money is going to be accepted in any of this. So this is not about money. I know there's people out there that are probably trying to start that conversation that we're trying to sell the Black Hills, we're trying to take the money, but this year not $1 is going to be accepted. We're just going after the federal lands. So. But yeah, there'll be more conversations later on today that'll help explain all of that. And thanks for your question.
All right. Rick, Yahiwo. Rupanumpa. Uea la kachimba lo. Oh, it's a nachmati mai. Versus little eye.
Yeni vasta sitä pitää kes niin polthan se vähim. Kan inte pimale chunko pikile ja selle näin vasitsa I vuodelta. Taku uapia patinga ja kiskahecha. Osa tuktelugna vastekki hecha. Pole. Osa ledes ja tagi moda skapon. Kitchen, starting in wheel coming. Chasha stop me on Hanska. Mokocha, Mukipina, Lehan College, Oin Pitch, or Enage, Heptak, and Kiki, Muchipi. What's a hell, Mokocha, hell, Vitima, Watchek, head, Wayatik, Ashtayan, the challenge, Dalan, Mokivna. Wakian hochbi paha albi hoish de hoch paha ki hecha isha ibi chamobrat cha hecha woche ki kala na hochi hankala paha albi hohe woche ki kala picha hotak unkoak ki lena thachi banja yomyona Ookja, tu telugna vastekte ki hecha. I wonglakan, on karton hecha. De kina jemas na I baka wonglaka mishon hotkanka chadeka honitha. Mishet ena hecha tu hecha hitach ya hecha na. Yok hektisnu na lehan niumatacha. Wachwala wonglakan ookja. Shanu Pash and the Opali Madons, and the Hips with the joy. Yochlatien go Wachonkan, Yochlatien, Skunk Hunter, on Skunky Hunter, was technical.
ta kum kile lo e che lo ha o chisha ya mala khota cha la kholia wa la ke changona un foya ka ne la ke ni hanta gune yes ka ji ya cha ni ji yes ka e che ya wana to ha ya kon kha ke a ko ma un ke cha he guna matina na via ta ai ki wa ma shi chu ke chi no ke shi chu ke chi e la kholia wa I chose to speak all in Lakota because I'm Lakota, so those of you that don't understand Lakota, get a translator, you know what I said. But I just gave an overview of why we're here in this meeting and why we're here and how we should conduct ourselves as relatives and that's, I'm not going to translate what I said. Or I should,
you heard it said in Lakota. So, back to the playbook. Thì trong khu ya hít bùa wo là cái trong cái cái lắc này gặp cái gì na isnu na cái tribal council IRA etai or GD are you
I'm glad that we started my trip each and for us to look at cheese up. Myself and another gal here, if she wants to introduce herself, she can. We're from the Wisconsin tribe, part of the tribal council. And just say thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan Ron. I'm a counselor from Rosewood Sioux Tribe as well, with Mr. Chris Eaglebear. Thank you.
Darla Black, Oglala Sioux Tribe, representing President Frank Starr comes out. I'm his legislative liaison. Excuse me, testing. Testing. Good morning. Hihani Washta Chincha. Darla Black and Machab now. I am the President Frank Starr comes out's legislative liaison, so I will be here listening in for him and representing President Starr comes out of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Wapila.
Steve Moran and much of the Chancellor much of Shane River. When I let a minister lets you work out on the line of the country, she's at the check of Marilla. So they were staying when I let you talk to Winston to talk to the area, what can't actually. Pokaže javno, so kanče pijena eče, tukate pije haja pije chinchin klapte. This meeting that we have, these meetings that we have, one of the things that we should prioritize is the children, Wakanja, for them to take because we, first of all, I don't want I want to see that with my son. My son, anyway, the children will be asking for this federal lands right now, but into the future, מקחוץ אתכם במקום מגמריה ופיתחה, מקחוץ אתכם כפיתחה, מקיס נלבשן, דמה תחותה, זה היה מוכר עכשיו מקחוץ לצחקי, והנה זה לב של פעלות השתום תתחה. You should get together and do the same with the Navajo and other tribes. That's something that we should do throughout our nation. In some, that's a Kavita Minusuna Taos, Ario Kimisumatu, Ogunate Cham. That's a Gilus Namugras, it's a Papa, Tiaka Kim. When we're done with this, go home and tell the others. Tell the others, let out is a knockout that cut. There should be panic in here with our Lakota. But that takes time and sometimes it's arduous work, hard work. So I encourage that. I know this is not probably the last meeting. You know how the Washington are. Look what they've done. And that's why we're here. And don't keep up with them, and keep it, one pillow. So I encourage that too. And work with that switch up.
Just on behalf of the Residency Tribe too, just want to extend our thank you and extend our condolences to our treaty director, Mr. Phil Teagle. And secondly too, another thing that I just want to, I don't know, my name is Christopher Eaglebear, and those of you that don't know who I am, and my grandfather is Russell Eaglebear. And eventually later on in the day, you'll probably see his presence, and he's very knowledgeable when it comes to all of this land back, all this talk about the Black Hills. You know, he's been very active in the Peshwa movement, or the Welcome Back to Thunders, which someone will probably talk about later on. The Residency Tribe, you know, we're really grateful to be part of this and to be able to help all of our other local relatives moving forward in this endeavor. And hopefully whenever we're the ages of our elders here, we won't have to have meetings like these anymore, and what we do today can affect the next 7 generations. So just thank you for allowing me and my representatives to be here today.
Okay, we went through Ogallala and Sichuan. Upapa.
Hamitapi, Hochoka, Lutawi, Machapi, Popowi, Nola Takenalive. It's good to be here. My name is Nola Takenalive. I represent the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe as a Standing Rock Council at-large representative. I've also been appointed to the Treaty Committee for our tribe, but more importantly, I have Lakshmi Cedric here and Tui Sissy Goodhouse that represent the Humpapa Treaty Council. So I just wanted to recognize them real quickly, and I don't want to see that whip, so here's our other councilwoman. My name is Alice Birdhorse, and I am Standing Rock Council at Large. I also have to say I appreciate Lakshmi and Tui, Sissy, Cedric and Sissy Goodhouse. From my family, Reginald Birdhorse was my late uncle. So this is my first meeting, and I'm very excited to be here to listen and learn. So Bobula for having us here. Thank you, Mudakas.
Tokahia Yua Chanteriste na Bekchizapo. Na Wambli the Hukiza Hamacha. Na Humpapa Mokoche Hemataha. Ona, thank you for giving me time here to be here with you all. And I hope we have a good meeting today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hamitakipi, Ampetuki le Yuha Chantevoshin, Abek Chusapi, there's a good house at Machiapi. Now, Yuha, Dayang wo ora kakapikta, ka dayang daku I chunku, unchipie, chamita kuya wasi.
Oh, nauni shumpelo. Ikter oa kakansi hena oa egena karutetsu. Nikoju. Mani, ouais.
Wopila Kanga Chicha, Advocacy. And what I'm going to say in my language, Lakota, because I'm a part-time Lakota language teacher. And you need to hear the Lakota language in order to learn it. And how important it is to you to learn your own language. I'm a doctor. Ila yomakpi. Lena gu akta yomakpi. Mukha chukshi apetuki le hunik. Ga kemak wioch ba de kehetja. Wayai. Etja wanale etuki delik de dalila yomakpi lo etja. Oya Getapaki. Ya Slovapi. Johantaki. Iwonglaka. Ate ina uchi gala hena iwoglaka. Tukishke uki. Gas le abetuki. Wana wa pi ukara pi. Na ya taya ukina shipikte. Hena hechi. Helogna itela akun gushta. Okie pikis kha okaja khakoja ena wichungulu api naachti. Talana oye tel umchigile. Ki ish au gnaya. Na tona khankaka lel nakapi ni khoka boa glake Ja, imagine kuja lo ja hechi na hoju inawa chata hecha na hoju ki gafota kha ta he yeksuyam takbe khobi hena ki ksuya chuk na hena ya thukate ya shkapi na daku na gulushta ale ape noji hello oh jobs did that's a bigger clock in kheta why I think the
jobs they hai oho baba. It doesn't to nach de dwogla men kwartueto.
Correct. Hoju tokeate mechela. Meni hoju mechela. Zitkara hitika macha penyan. Wakia mozo cheushpa mata. Ashena na weche sapa. What we could have wanted to come down and represent. Ashena we have the IRA government on our reservation. Ashena oshpaye ichito bahaki. We have those 4 tribes up there. Sihasapa, Itazik Tro, Ohenupa, Nakula, Mikoju, Elena Mikoju Mecha. Vashilana Mishnawa Yati, I live alone, Yati, and I'm standing alone, but I'm supporting all of our Lakota Nation. And on this Black Hills, I wanted to
I don't know where we're going later on, but for now I wanted to just mention an individual, Randy Ross. There's a powwow that goes on here on this city here, and it started way back in 1986. One of the things that this individual, Randy, added that began and started that success was he researched and developed an economic picture of the Black Hills and Rapid City. And that got the governor's interest right away. That got the Washichu's interest right away. Okay, you can do your culture if that's going to bring us that much money. And I think that a part of this explanation of why we don't want money, why we want our land back, I think we need to have one of our college students develop an economic picture from 1851 to present day on how much money the Washichus have made here on this land, and use that as justification for our declaration of thievery. We're declaring that they stole all of this. But if you put it in the terms of money, then they begin to understand overall how much that we have lost, how much that we have had stolen from us. So I wanted to suggest that in there. There's a lot more to that. But I wanted to add that in there for all of our young folks that are listening. That we can develop that economic picture to justify what it is, that why we're so mad. Because they took our livelihood from our ancestors and from us, but we don't want them taking it from our children. And then the second of all was the justification for turning this bill in, refusing that money and wanting our land back. When these treaties were first signed, Asheville Lakota got a blank sheet of paper, and the Washichus got a blank sheet of paper. But right away, before they even got to Washington, D.C., they started writing on their paper what they're going to do, how they're going to take advantage of this treaty, how they're going to take advantage of this great Sioux nation. But we just trusted them. So we went our way and we continued living. So we have that sheet of paper, but it's still blank. But what Indian Collective and all of our representatives here are working on, now we start to design that sheet. We start to put words on there that's going to represent us. And we can say that it's bad that we got a late start. But I think it's a good thing because it's given the world time for the U.S. government to show how big of thieves that they are. And so when we start to fill this out, I want to encourage everybody to really study this, what we're building here in this legislative bill. Because we have a lot of ammunition that we haven't even used yet. And so we need to really listen to our elders. And then the ones in the middle age help to translate that between them and the young college-age kids. And then the college-age kids, they're the ones that I want to address in what I talked about, this economic picture. And also writing this draft of this bill. We have several individuals that are young people that are within the legislative system in South Dakota. Those are the ones that I want to encourage to step up here and start to put this wording into place, because the wording is really important. That was the main thing. That's the main thing again. But we're dealing with Washichus that don't understand Indian. And Indian isn't just a language, it's all of us. It's our past and it's our history and it's our future. So the words that we put in here, we have to pay attention to how the Washichus are using them in their legislation. Even just a simple word, shall. They shall be recognized as belonging to the great Sioux Nation. If you say it any other way, the Washichus are going to misconstrue it in their courts. So I wanted to add that in there. And I'm glad to be here.
You gave some good advice. Is there any other one from your nation want to say a few words? Not a long speech, but just something that, because I'm going to move to the next layout.
As a president was at the Cheyenne Sioux Tribe on the IRE government since 2000, fourth term. Seen a lot of things, been involved with the Montreal Kulaki since 1998 through Wakantanka and Woyhumbra and Woaka to try to understand Wulakota. And we have a lot of things here as tribal governments that are quasi. If you look at these template constitutions, and if you know the history, the Minnehaska reports this hard winter act upon our people. And I think a lot of young people that get on these councils, these area tribal governments, need to know the history, our history. Very important that our colleges start teaching our history to our people. We need to look at what it says in this template. We have an inability to administer education and health. And we have to administer education and health. So coming from a Poho, which has been on this area government and seen it not really fully fulfilling the people as a whole, and not really representing the 405s there on the Wakpala still, The elders there that put that together, they put it in Lakota. Lakota ke Oigwa. Lakota Wichucha, Yuha, Nujin. Let the song is Akwahiki le Chalupa Wakahecha. Now, hectors of Shiu, Hewia, hectors of Wahuki Tell. As Ota on Lampetiki hectors. They were station. As Wazila said, hectors of Nujin to Hecha. Now, on a Lampetiki hectors here. Hectors to hectors of Nujin to Hecha. Just briefly on a legislative forefront, we got some veterans here that went to the Senate building there, Hart building on March 14th. And we got to honor our commander, Don Loudner, Korean war veteran. We've been pushing this National American Indian Federal Charter 20 years now. And Senator Rounds and Senator Thune and Senator Lujan were there present. And we took our group there to support our commander, and we honored him with a star blanket and a Korean war song. And those veterans are here, Ivan and Ronnie, and that's the federal legislation, 20 years. So, like what Zakalo Hitika said, we need to really look at who we are and look at this federal legislation, because if we're a chief going out there with a Lakota Wichoyapi, Lakota Wichohamha, Hutchison looking to Hecha. No, Plesson Hutchison Ukiksi up to Hecha. Hechukai Uwaka to Hecha. There's many things to say, but looking at it as a IRE elected official, if you go to elect people that know their language, know their history, that'll work for the people. Because this election system is not ours. It's a foreign dictate upon us. That's why we have all these problems with IRA governments, because we're modeling the United States. And look what's happening right now with this Trump and Biden. That's the problem. Let's not be the problem. If we'll teach Moyate with our language, we're the solution. We're the solution. And I'm glad that elders from the Good River are here, because we got a movement going on, and that movement needs to catch fire. We have a fire that's part of the Hochuka. So I'm encouraging everybody to know who you are and know where we're going. And expect that out of elected officials. Question them. And I'm glad Mr. Rand Hutchison will not go with us and let him Makola, which will come Yapi, Yaha, Hutchison to go. Ah, Palama to go.
Oh, Hutchison. Walk to that chicken. Oh, hello,
Legislation committee had done. Shahemisha Zumi Kiap Kecha Runachumi Waina Roagaka Hogash Le Ruga Pikilio Ruga Yakap Kepashte Ruksap Chale Yukchamaket Cha Rale Cheche Yakap Kenan Ogunan Lokote Nahum Pipshicha Washichu. The legislation committee met, and I missed the last one. I lost a nephew just a few days ago, and I couldn't make it to the Zoom meeting. But I was going to ask if we get the secret Black Coons return act. We have a lot of words that we have to work with, like Tahashi Joe. Lafferty was talking about one word, shall. Things like that. And that was mentioned. We got to be very careful because the philosophy of their Washichu is different from ours. And we got a lot of smart people to write this. And I talked to some elders, and I'm going to throw this out there. When we get this bill done and get past the draft, and the people, the Ocheti Shakoi, are present, and make our testimonies. I talked to an individual who was a great-grandchild of a treaty signer, but then he was on the other side, Washichu. I think his name was Brigadier General William Sherman Harney, who was a signer of the 1868 treaty. And I talked to his great-grandson, who befriended with the Little Thunder Jewish fight because of the Blue Water Massacre. And he helped us get that name off that peak. He took that name Harney off of there. When I talked to him and the elders, if we had testimonies like this individual who's the ancestor of that treaty signer from the other aisle, they say, testifies on behalf saying, give the land back to the Lakota people. What if he testifies that? And he said he's willing to do it. He's willing to talk and testify. This land belongs to the Lakota people. And I told him to give it a thought. There was no second thought. He said, we'll do it. I will speak on returning this land back to your people, he said. He said, I know another who is still alive, or a descendant also too, that also would like to give the land back to the Oyate. So just a food for thought, and doesn't have to be written in stone. You know, it's just a thought. It could help too, because I talked to doctors too about this. Doctor of philosophy, doctor of, they're all our tribal members. And they think it's a good idea and it'd be lucrative. Just a couple of days ago was the last time we talked about this. So I thought I'd put that across and I'll jump off right there. Workshop.
Oh, here, Kola. Did I speak? My relatives, forgive me for not speaking our language, but no doubt we're in a complicated situation here. I applaud this action here, But who's this land going to go back to? Going to go back to the tribes? Present day situation here with these IRA governments, that wouldn't be a good thing. So one of our main focus, we need to change this IRA government. That's kind of the bottom line of the whole deal too. But I just think we should focus more on that too. And try to get some legal help together to bring some legal action against these tribes. We really have no rights on our reservations. No human rights. They're controlling everything from the courts, through all the programs.
There's people, I got like 6 range units in one family. You know, important issues that need to be dealt with. So, kind of think about these things too. When you're asking for this land back, oh, it's to.
Oh, Richard. Vad är igår att we'll be talking about some of those issues later in the meeting, so they're coming up. I've missed 3 meetings because he told me it was last week or the next week, so in between I was lost. I was up in the Black Hills roaming around. Yeah, shit, you can up. Okay, we're gonna move down to those other guys. Those representing other nations here. If you want to have an opportunity to say something, you can. In the meantime, you're already doing it, so we're having a break here. We're not going to announce a dinner either, so when that dinner is brought, you can just go over there and get it. We're going to do a working session. Process in Boca.
I just want to say thank you for everybody here, for everybody that helped put this meeting on to get us all together. My name is Melvin Miner. I'm here representing my Tiwahe and my Tioshpe, as well as I'm Wakawa State Lakota Treaty Council member as well. So I'm here in that capacity. And I just wanted to just introduce myself, thank everybody for their efforts. I want to thank our past Treaty Council members, our elders for all the good work that they put together to lay the foundation for this. It's really good to see us all here together, coming together like this, as we've done for thousands of years. You know, that unity is important, especially for this effort. We need that unity, and I think we have that. We're building that right now, so it's good to see us all uniting. It's good to see our Lakota bands coming together. It's good to see that we're following our traditional protocols. We're reaching out to our elders for guidance. You know, we have our staffs, we have our drums, we have our whipman. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see us coming together this way. And that unity is important, you know. Chanti wajila, tawachi wajila, oyate wajila na wacheke waji. You know, one mind, one heart, one nation, and one prayer, and I think that's what we need here. We need that guidance and that help from our elders and our spiritual people, as well as our spirit people as well, and Tukashila. So I just wanted to introduce myself in this way, and just want to say thank you for all the efforts taken in collective, and Tahanshi Nick, as well as our other Treaty Council and the IRA reps. So just thank you for everything, and I feel really good about this effort so far. So
we have always been united, and it's the government that has divided us on paper, and they believe that we can't unite anymore. But look at us here. I would say,
yeah, I'm sorry if I interrupted anybody, but I'm hard of hearing, so I was just told to go ahead and push this button, but you probably know that my grammar isn't that good because I'm not educated like you other people. But, you know, the Blackfield issue was like I'm 82 years old. It's always been there. It's always been there. Now it's kind of our reservations. Actually, it's on the auction block.
You know, we got some bad people behind using their authority on our reservations. You know, I only see one, which he's trying to do his job and he can't do it because of the backing of other people on the other side. But some of us have our own life. You know, we had our own living, didn't do a bad job, but seemed like the council gradually cut us out. They cut us out of the picture and they want our land. Cheyenne River's only got 2 million acres. But one day it came about that they had a meeting. In fact, it fell in the night where 1,500,000 acres was given to a breed like myself. And a bunch of John Waynes were sitting in a circle. Actually, this council awarded this Zach Dushno, head of this thing, to go ahead and utilize our reservation. 1,500,000, and we have a lot of unemployment. What the hell's wrong with these people? You know, I hate to use that language, but again, I'm not educated. But this Black Hills is going to be on in the same situation. You know, so far I've been going to these meetings, I've been getting fat. Just, you know, doing a lot of eating. Nothing's getting done. We got our council members getting well paid, but I don't know if they could help. But it seems like the Black Hills issue is not even counted as part of our reservation. You know, think about it. We just claim the Black Hills, but this young man, or the man just said that something about, you know, Doug Shaw, Black Hills. Well, that's been on the table for 80 years that I remember. You know, so, but anyway, it's just, there's so much to talk about, and I'm sure we got other people on this, but I'm not satisfied with this government. They got to change it somewhere. But that's all. Thanks for your time. I don't know worship.
We hear you. We hear you. Everybody has spoken about that. But anyway, we went through the list of Weate, and we've completed that. So we're going to go to item 8, and we're going to recap last meeting action items by Nick Tilson of NDN Connections. Okay. And I'd also like to say thank you to those of you and all of you who made your speeches short and simple but meaningful. So I knew we could do it, and we stuck to the topic, and I appreciate that, as well as the leadership here at this treaty conference or legislative bill-making process. Go ahead. Anytime you're ready, Coach God, Nick.
Amadakiapi, Nick Tilson of Machiapi, Chatel, Washington, up at Tuzapalo. Ms. Nick Tilson, my mother is Joanne Hall, Janice. My father is Mark Tilson. My Kioshpa is Wahancha Kayapi, and part of the Iukbe. And I'm a father of 4 wild Oglalas, and they're mixed too. Milikoshu, Bukbati. I wanted to share a little bit about the origin of this body of work in this meeting and to recap the last meeting. The first thing I want to say is that the way in which we went about this meeting and what this is about, it is about the return of the public lands, federal public lands in the Black Hills. That's the scope of today's meeting, of what it's about. There's many issues facing our people. Many issues facing our people. But here, this effort is about that specific thing. And we would have never went forward with this effort if we didn't go to the Black Hills Sioux Treaty Council and have the conversations with them to build strategy. The reason for those strategy meetings was to try to see if we could build consensus. I'm Oglala, so it's my responsibility to go to my Oglala people first. It wasn't to exclude anybody, it was to follow protocol. So we did that, and if they said, we don't want this to move forward, then we wouldn't move it forward. I sat there with the Lekshis and the Gakas, and we looked at strategies to get the land back. And we looked at what happened with the Bradley bill, the good and the bad. We actually went through that bill, and we went through it, and there's parts of it that are good, and parts of it that are no good, too. She passed away, or even though that bill passed away. So we started looking at it, and then we began to come into something new. Pretty soon it was not the Bradley bill anymore. It's the draft that's sitting before you. And if you read into that, one of the things that's important for us to understand why we're here today is we are not here to talk about the acceptance of the money. In fact, at the last meetings, we said if anybody wants to talk about the acceptance of the money, they can excuse themselves from the meeting. You can go now. Because that's not why we're here. We also recognized that this effort alone isn't going to solve all of the problems and the differences between the IRA governments and our traditional government. And so this effort has to be unified. And in the process of fighting for our land, we can build new governance structures. If you read in a document, the thing that's also historic about this, what's being proposed here, is not only do we say we don't want the money, we say, take your money back. We say in that document, take your money back, because we don't want it to be there hanging over our people, trying to divide our people. Because that's what they wanted in the first place. So, the public lands make up 80% of the Black Hills. They make up 80% of the Black Hills. There's roughly 1,541,000 acres of federal public lands in the Gesapa. And this bill basically says that the Black Hills Act of 1877 there was an illegal taking. The Supreme Court ruled that it was an illegal taking. Then they tried to pay us off. And so we've exhausted legal remedies, and so there needs to be a political solution. And that's what's being proposed here, is a political solution. An act, it would take an act of Congress to return the public lands in the Black Hills. it also says that we don't have it all figured out. It says that, within 5 years of passing this bill, we would have to create a governance structure made up of the Lakota Oyate. We can decide what that is. We as a people can decide what that is. But we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for the intention to do that. We can do that as we're doing this. So, at this meeting, that's why I wanted to clarify what this effort is about. And there's many good efforts that many people in this room are taking upon themselves. Lots of efforts to rebuild the Osheti-Shakomi. Lots of efforts to rebuild traditional government. Lots of efforts to reconnect the young people back to the Chisapa. All of those efforts are good. That's not what we're doing today. I also want to share something that was said to us in ceremony. Because some people might be sitting here and wonder, was ceremony ever done for this effort? Was ceremony ever done for this effort? Was direction ever given? And the answer is, it's been going on for a while now. But something that they told us in ceremony was pretty powerful and helped kind of give some straight line direction. And they told us in the ceremony that putting the whole Osheti-Shakomi back together is a whole effort within itself. Getting the Black Hills back to our people is an effort within itself. Meaning that we don't have to put the entire Osheti-Shakomi back together in order to get the Black Hills back. That might take us a while, and that's a good effort. But you know how they are in ceremony, when they give you direction to go this way. That was clarity to me. Because I think what ends up happening every time we try to do something big for our people, all of a sudden, we're trying to rebuild our entire governance system just to move anything forward. And I think the reality is what they're saying is that this effort can create some unity to maybe make that happen one day. The other thing that was a big motivator behind this effort is that about 25% of the Black Hills is under mining claims right now. And it's putting arsenic into the water, it's putting mercury into the water, and mining, and that percentage is 100% going to increase, given what's happening in Congress. They're coming for more lithium, they're coming for more gold, they're coming for more of those things. If we change, if that land becomes our land, there's certain things that and protections that those mining companies don't have. If that becomes federal Indian land, the 1872 Mining Act that's in place does not have jurisdiction. And that is the act that gives the corporations more rights over our land. So this effort is about land back, and it's about land defense. It's about taking care of Mother Earth. There's no ulterior motive. There's no outside force that started this effort. The people in this room started this effort because we wanted to see something happen for our people. So I share this context to bring people along. And if it's your first time to this meeting, we kind of just been doing it old school. You come to the meeting, bring a few people with you to the next one. So if you're here and you're saying, I wonder who's not here, reach out to them, have them come. We don't have to rely on Facebook for everything. We all know what happens on there. So, even though we are live, I think, so all the crazy ones online. But that's the goal. The document in front of you is a draft. It's a draft. It's imperfect. We're trying to do something. We're trying to make an act and make a bill that both has our identity, our culture, our land, all of those things within it, but also it translates to something that can be passed by Congress. The strategy this year, just to lay this out, we're in an election year. So we don't think that this bill is going to be passed this year. But what we do know is that if we get this bill introduced this year, and that if we get a Senate hearing this year, that there's going to be members of the Department of Interior who will give their official opinion on this bill, on behalf of the United States government. And right now, it will be favorable to us. In 2025, it might not be. So, this is a long-term strategy. Long-term strategy, to get to that place. So, the other thing that we did is that these meetings are a mixture of following our traditional protocol like you've seen so far to this day, and just grassroots organizing. And the role of many of the younger people in here, and of the Indian Collective, I want to be really clear. We're just boots on the ground. We work for the elders. We work for the leaders. We'll get our hands dirty. We'll go work for the people. That's our role. And that's how this came to be. Also, at the last meeting, we broke out into 5 different committees. This part's important because those of you who want to continue to be a part of this effort, you can join any one of those committees. Because there's no, what are you going to do about this in this meeting today? It's what are we going to do about this? And so we broke up into these different committees. There was a committee that was focused on advocacy. We're going to hear back from them today. There's been work that's been going on. There's a committee that was focused on the drafting of the bill itself, the language of the bill. We're going to hear back from them. There's folks who began to come work on materials, education and outreach materials of how we're going to talk to the people about this. We're going to hear back from them today. There is a committee that was focused on the spiritual part of this. We're going to hear back from them today. There was the logistics committee that put together the logistics for this meeting. We're going to hear back from them. So that's how this meeting is structured, and that's how that agenda is put together in that way. So I wanted to kind of give that overview and explain that. Because I know, how it is. Anything going on with the Black Hills, that people say, well, what's going on? I'm going to go find out. And we counted on that. We counted on that. Because if you look who's in the room, many of us in the room here are the people who would resist if there was something negative happening to our people. We've seen each other. We fought with each other on the front lines for generations. So that's, when you look to the left and look to the right in here, that was part of the strategy. That was part of the strategy, was to bring the people together and huddle around a solution. So that's the background. Last meeting, we created those committees. We're going to hear back from those committees. The process is imperfect. It's a omanichie. We're figuring that out. We said we said we're gonna meet every month until we introduce the bill. Somebody said, no, you said we're gonna meet every month until we get our land back. Holy God, we'll have to get pensions for that. But I do want to say that in the clarity of this, that it's an honor to be working towards this. And I know sometimes, we've been in a lot of meetings, and like wrenches get thrown in a lot of meetings. Pretty soon we're going down this road and going down that road. We're trying to respect people's time today. And so we're gonna give time for these committees to be able to report back to the people. And then after lunch, there's gonna be time for people to join those committees. There's gonna be next steps. Because when we walk out of here, we want everybody who stays till the end to know what they're going to do to contribute to something to this effort. We want to make sure that if you didn't have clarity about what this meeting was about or what we're doing here, that you walk out of here with clarity. And that we have marching steps to move forward. And that maybe every meeting we move a little bit further down the road. So I wanted to say that much at this time. And I think that covers the part that I was supposed to say, and that Whitman's starting to walk towards me, so that's it to him.
Okay, I'd like to call forward Madonna sitting there. You will. And on deck will be Cedric and Sissy Goodhouse and Anissa Martin for education and outreach. Madonna's sitting there will be spiritual.
It's good to see each and every one of you today. Some of the faces that we've been working with thus far and the new faces that have come in. Last time as he spoke, he talked about the committees that were formed the last meeting. And we sent the mic around and everyone just kind of, stated their names and who wanted to be a part of those committees. And so for us, the spiritual committee, I just wanted to give this update of the things that have been happening. So under the guidance and the recommendation in previous meetings that were, within the last year, it was recommended that we make our offerings and that we take them up and present them and leave them at the different sacred sites. And part of that too is like following our stars, because we come from the stars, right? We're people of the stars. And so that recommendation was made, and yesterday a team with NDN Collective was able to do that. They made prayers, they made flags, they made moye, and they took that up and left it up there for that as part of the things that we're doing here. But I also wanted to talk about the spiritual guidance. I know Nick has touched on that a little bit, but now that this group is where it's at, we really want to go ahead and open that door. And if you're interested in being a part of the spiritual committee, that part of it, please reach out to the staff here. With that, the responsibilities that come with that is gathering together, talking about the next steps, and deciding on what we're going to do. Again, always following those protocols in a spiritual manner and bringing that back into the space for everybody else. So if you guys would like to be a part of that, please reach out to us. Yeah, I think that's all that I have. So again, thank you guys.
Education and outreach, Cedric and Sissy Goodhouse and Anissa Martin. Following that, we'll have the bill drafting by Tracy Zeppier. I'm just getting the next one set up. So the others, you can take the time that you need to explain your committee.
First, I just want to apologize for speaking before my elders. And I've been working on my Lakota, so I'm going to try to speak Lakota, so forgive me too if I mispronounce. Ampetu kile chante washtian ampe chuzape ola ki fuan Lakota himacha. Kol charge mitawa ki wachihi uyakbewi. Washichuya anisa martin amacha biksho. Unchi wichawa yakinu. Wanji Hope Pamela Martin and Chiapi na Uma Susan. American Horse and Chiapi. Kakawi Chawa yakinu. Wanji Daryl Martin Sr. and Chiapi na Uma Vincent Roger Jr. Vincent Roger Tobacco Jr. and Chiapi. Wazia Haha Ekta Imachaje na Wana. Minaguza Hana Hesapa Awati Shto. My name is Anissa Martin. I am Ola Lakota. And first I'll just let us do some introductions and then we'll go over the purpose of the committee.
Dakupi Sisi Good House of Rajapi. Ia Waslaha Matana.
She said, "You want a chair?" I said, "No, I'll just fall over when I reach my hand." Secretary Grass and Machana, Morgate, North Dakota.
Okay, so first I'll go over the purpose of the committee and then we'll introduce the other members of the committee. So the purpose of the Education and Outreach Committee, and I think Nick touched a little bit on it just before this, but we're tasked with creating resources for use and educating the people and communicating with the people. Developing talking points and frequently asked questions regarding the legislation and effort. And we have our members, Francine Hall, Shine River, Beth Bone Eagle, Rosebud, Sissy Cedric, Eva, Carla, Jordan, Sunny, Claude, Melvin, Chloe, and myself. And I'll just reiterate this now, is that the committee is open. So if you're open to wanting to join the Education Outreach Committee, the offer is always open. I like to say that ours is one of the funnest ones. We had a meeting just before this meeting, and we plan to have a meeting bi-weekly, so we'll be visiting a lot about these talking points and getting things together.
We talked about strategies and we had a lot of ideas. We even ran out of time. We ran out of time. But this is what we have down as our strategies. We wanted to create a framework and protocols to guide conversations on the legislation and overall effort, draft resource documents on historical and traditional knowledge points for everyone's reference. And we wanted some creation story materials. I'll have Cedric talk about that. And we wanted a community outreach, create communications plans for our communities. And we talked about town halls, podcasts, going there, create a plan to utilize the social media. We need you young people to help us do that and disseminate information. We talked about Facebook. I can get on Facebook. I don't do Instagram or TikTok. But I can do a cartwheel. And we talked about how we can work with schools and colleges to educate on the Black Hills and this effort.
When we met the other day, we went through a lot of discussion about where do we start, you know, and what would be our parameters, and who are we going to talk to, and who's going to listen to us. So that's when we decided how we would reach out to people, and that's where we come up with the social media part. Because not everybody's going to listen to the people on the committee, or we won't have an opportunity to talk to everybody that we would like to reach out to. But everybody's on some type of social media. I can see some on it right now. But where do we start? You know, what gives us the right to claim our own Black Hills? You know, so that's where we would start. Our creation story, from the beginning of before time. You know, there's stories before time that we'd like to include in this. Using those stories, using songs, using star knowledge, that puts us in this place prior to written history. So we need to have that so people can understand, you know, that it's not just a historical piece of information, or is it some kind of type of legislation that just came out in 1980, you know, but those things that came out in 1980 as the legislation progressed from early 1900s to 1980, there's information in there too as well that we can use. And our treaties, we have lays out the land base, and there's certain points in there as well that we can use, where it says, for one example, the land base, for absolute and undisturbed use and occupation, and we need to have people help us define that term, absolute. We know, we can say, well, what does that mean to you, absolute and undisturbed use and occupation? It's in that treaty. Anything that's been done to the treaty, all these laws and stuff that have been passed, you know, we need people to research that so that we could really look at have any of those attempts ever reached the 3/4 male population. And we need to get that out as well, because I don't believe that's ever occurred to any legislation that's ever occurred on the Black Hills, even to the point of abrogating the treaty. I don't think the Lakota Nation ever agreed to that. You know, you're making, and then the Constitution, what the Constitution says about treaties. Who were they making treaties with at that time? We need to understand that as well. They weren't established being the North Atlantic Treaty Organization or anything like that. But you look back at the time that they put that into the Constitution, they were making treaties with us, the Native people across this land. So that's a big part too that we could take out, use to further educate our people, bring them back to light, so to speak. It's always been there, but if we find the form, people are going to start to understand. We need to use maps, get that big heart up there. In our discussions with people, ourselves, among ourselves, and those that we were visiting with, the gentleman said to me one time, he said, you can't just take pieces of the heart out. That heart's got to remain whole. So I thought about that for a while. I said, you know, we aren't taking pieces of the heart out. That heart is functioning. What we're trying to do is we're trying to save the heart.
That's our attempt. That's where we're at. I said, so when we save that heart, we're going to start working on the whole of the heart. I said, we have a story about a racetrack around the heart. You know, those are all real significant things that we can bring out to further re-educate or re-enlighten our people as to the Black Hills being ours.
Yeah, I think you touched on our whole meeting. That was a really good recap. I think some of the things, so with all of our traditional knowledge, and like even like the legislation and the treaties and all the history, we're looking at what we can create from that. And those are things like, you know, a map. So getting like a visual of what does the 80% of the public federal lands look like. So not many people think that's, you know, when we say the public lands, you can't really visualize that, but we want to be able to put that in a map so that we can disperse that information when we talk about this effort. And have timelines and t-shirts, so we need to identify a key support phrase. I think before that we had a rallying cry, so if anybody has any like good catchphrases or anything that you would like to see on a t-shirt, it helps bring awareness to these situations so that we can continue the conversation about it. And also drone footage, so when it comes to like our next meetings, we want to be able to have on these screens, when they rotate, we want to be able to have drone footage of the Black Hills. And so that we can see from like an eagle's point of view what exactly the Hesapa looks like. And then eventually wanting to create a website so that we can have someplace where all of these documents live. And so that's easily accessible to everybody so that we can share a link to somebody and then they can have access to the creation story, the link to that, or any of these maps. So figuring out what is best and how is best to disperse information. And these are all just ideas right now. There's nothing that has been set in stone just yet. Next slide. So our next steps are to finalize the talking points and the FAQ. And we have standing bi-weekly meetings. We all agreed to have them on Tuesdays at 3:30 via Zoom. So if you would like to join the committee, you can catch me just running around. I'll probably be, everywhere back there today. And then at lunchtime, I think we'll have to double check when we break for lunch, but we want to meet during lunch as well, just to catch up, introduce ourselves in person, and figure out, what the next steps are from there. We'll probably meet over here in this end, so if you would like to join our committee, come and talk to us, and we'll get you listed down. I'll need the contact information from you.
Before we go, I wanted to share with you, a song from the Hunkpapa. The story behind the song says that we were coming down this way, and we met some people going back, where they told us that the treaty's been signed by, whoever signed it. But so they went home and stayed and did what they had to do, and started getting herded to reservation and being chased back up into Canada and things like that. And that went on for a while, and they didn't like it. They used to meet every summer along the Grand River. And one summer they met, they talked about things. And the song come from that meeting. And it talks about, grandfather, they've stolen your heels. And since that time, we've had a hard time. So I'm gonna try and sing it. I just getting over a cold. The doctor said I'm not contagious anymore. And I look at my wife and she thinks I still am. Hasn't kissed me for 5 days. So. But I'm gonna give my best at that song. Paki, Hawa Makia Chap, Leha Iyo Tie, Wakia Te Hau. Advocacy.
Good one. Oh, wait, you got one more.
One more song. No. I want to thank my nieces for coming and being here. Why it's important for our government to be involved is, especially from Standing Rock. When they swear in, part of their swearing in ceremony, they swear to uphold the Treaty of 1868. So I wanted to point that out because this is part of that. This is the whole of it. I'm pretty sure. So once they can keep this going within the government as well, we would have more, because that's where it's going to go. They're going to be the ones to further this cause. Thank you.
Okay, that's a significant impact on the education of the Lakota people, Saba. Okay, Tracy Zephyr. She has her presentation divided into 3 bullets: legislative advocacy, bill drafting, and logistics, in that order. So, here. Okay. Okay, clear. I'm going to clear up what I said here. It's going to just be a legislative advocacy. And then Claude wants to talk. So we'll let him have the mic. Have the mic and the floor. Oh yeah, Eliana.
I'm a Macedonian, I am Catholic, Hakoya, Hebrew, Khan. I work for a Kanka, and Dona Petroviat, and Dona, and I work up there, you know, the child, I even country, the hill, I I'm very thankful to come here today. My name is Claude Tubak. My Lakota name is Tokala Hokoka, Wabokia Old Money. I'm sitting back here listening. I had to put my input in. I signed up for the Education Committee and also the Spiritual. And I just want to briefly say some things because I am a long talker. So I don't know if the women out there might pull the bump from me. So the Education Committee, I always think about who were we before the Great Race happened. And what were we? Were we a four-legged, five-legged, six-legged? We were something more than a two-legged. More than a two-legged. So how that goes, everyone knows that story. So that time, I understood that we were referred to as there way out there. And from that point, I wanted to bring that energy back and a buffalo drum name of that drum is Pini. And I'm very honored to have that drum out of buffalo hide and the drumsticks made out of buffalo hair. And I feel that this energy of innocence of who we are, we have that direct connection to Mother Earth, the vocal cord that we survived on and lived on. And before this interruption came, we're assimilation process. And it goes on and on, like going on. Then jump to the next thing I wanted to say is the awareness of the sense of 34, this change of governance or the change of way of life was changed. And my grandfather was a process of that, of both of them, because he was a Nacha, and a lot of the Nacha were moved into IRA councilmen, and he was also voted back in for many years, altogether 36 years. So I'm really proud that my grandfather was a leader, and a councilman, RA, and what I was told that a lot of the wisdom and the books on it and a lot of the IRA councilmen listened to the teachings of the book, these ways of life that we lived on. And that slowly went away. To today, we have a lot of, we're trying to find our way back to who we are. We're trying to find this trunk, this road, we're trying to rebuild and bring back the medicines of our grandfathers and grandmothers to our young people and future generations that are coming, and who we are and our connection to the Black Hills. I just want to appreciate allowing me to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's step here. Legislative Advocacy, Ellie Moran and Holly Cook Lucaro. Wana.
Can you hear me? I'm glad to watch day with Chappie. Chante watch day not bay choose up be. Kajebi talkie Ali Miranda macho gusto. Malakotomia hemacho gusto. Paul washe oyanke hemacho gusto. Hello my relatives, my name is Ali Moran and I am from the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. I currently work with Chairman LeBeau and I'm our Intergovernmental Affairs Officer. I attended last meeting, that was my first meeting last month out here, and was asked to be part of the political and legislative committee and help spearhead that. And so I'm working alongside Holly Cook Macaro, and she'll introduce herself too. We have some handouts going out about our legislative timeline that we're working on. And so I'll let Holly introduce herself and then we'll get kicked off with our timeline.
Ani Luju, Ishbo, Indigenous cause, Makwakni Dodam, Muskwagni Visagaga and Donjabab. My name is Full in the Sky Woman, and I'm from the Red Lake Band of Ojibwe in northern Minnesota. And my English name is Holly Cook Macaro. I do government affairs for Indian Collective, and I'm working with Ali on the legislative and advocacy committee. We are, as she said, we're going to go through a timeline and a PowerPoint, and we are looking for some feedback on a few points as well.
Actually, can we get our whole committee, the committee members to come up here as well? While they're coming up here, so far since our last meeting, we've met twice, and got to this point of currently working on drafting our one-pager to deliver to the congressional membership. So, Jordan, Melvin, Shannon, and Chairman LeBeau. Chairman LeBeau was on his way out here, but he turned around halfway just because of the weather, so he headed back to Eagleview, so he apologizes, and I'm here on his behalf. We'll let our committee members introduce themselves as well. We got a really good group here, and I just want to reiterate that anyone is welcome, more than welcome, to join this political and legislative committee, because it's going to take a unified effort to get this passed. And it's going to take a unified effort to, hit the hill. And when we get to that point where we're ready to go and meet with congressional members, we're going to need more of our people to be there with us and to work as a team to get this message out and to get this bill passed. So we'll go ahead and allow our members to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Jordan Ron, again from Rosewood Sioux Tribe. I've been on council this is starting my third year, so my term's up in August. But I enjoy doing this work with Indian Collective and being on this committee. Thank you.
Melvin Miner. I introduced myself earlier. I spoke to the group. Just wanted to just say thank you to each and every one of you, our committee here, for the good work. We got a good start. And, hopefully more of you will come on board. The more the merrier. So with that, I just wanted to just say thank you guys for myself.
My name's Mr. Fiegelberg. Just like Anna introduced myself earlier. Great to be part of this committee. I'm from the Rosewood Tribe, council persons. Actually, going into my second year. Starting my second year. And I keep saying this, but I don't know what Jajay clan. I don't know what that is, and maybe you know what it means. Yeah.
Good day, everybody. Anna Shield. I work with the Sioux Tribe 5th Members Office. And I'm also the Oklahoma County Commissioner. I've been serving the commission for about 10 years now, and it's just great to be here and have input on this and work with this amazing team.
Chloe. Also, I wanted to mention that I've created a Google Doc so anyone can have access to it. So we have all of our committee members that, some of them that received the link, they have access to it, but it's open for everyone, so we can all look at what the political and legislative committee is working on. So please feel free to let me know if you would want to be added to that list, and so you can keep up in real time with our improvements. So we'll go ahead, and in front of you, you have a handout, which is the timeline that we've created for this project. So here in March, I'll pass the mic off to Holly because she's been spearheading this portion of the project. So,
thank you, Ali. You should all have a copy of the document that says key dates for the HASAPA legislation. It's extremely ambitious, but it keys in with what's left in this administration. As Nick said earlier, we are uniquely positioned to potentially have favorable weigh-in from the administration, so getting the United States on record would be really key in establishing a legislative record for our continued efforts in future Congresses. I think we all know this is a difficult road in front of us, and it won't happen in this Congress. Each Congress is in 2 years, is a 2-year session, a 2-year cycle. We are in year 2 of the 118th Congress, and it ends, as I note in here, after the lame duck, after the election. So I'm going to walk through this because there are some action items in there. In March of 24, it says we have the meetings with the South Dakota congressional delegation. We've done that outreach. We're going to go through that in a little bit more detail in the PowerPoint. Today we're meeting here in Rapid City. And after this, we have the legislative drafting. So that's when Tracy will go over some details of the bill. And she's updated it since our last meeting. So we'll go through that. We hope to have that draft done in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, their hands again. And so that we can submit that draft legislation to the sponsor that we identify in the U.S. Senate and in the House. That whoever is our co-sponsor, our sponsor, will do an internal review. Then they will submit that to Congressional Legislative Council for formatting and other conforming edits. And we are also going to give kind of a pre-look at it to the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. We want to make sure that this bill in the Senate is referred to the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs and not Energy and Natural Resources. So I've spoken with Senator Schatz, who's the chairman of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. I've spoken with his staff director. We're going to get a pre-look at it so that it has all the language that is going to ensure it gets referred to the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs where it belongs and will get its proper attention. They are engaged. I think we have a very good chance of getting a hearing in the Senate. We don't have, I hope to have a House companion bill introduced as well. That will get referred to the House Committee on Natural Resources. It should go to the Subcommittee on Indigenous Peoples, but it might get referred to the Subcommittee on Federal Lands where we will not get a hearing. I've already been told we won't get a hearing there. So our focus will be, as we move forward, on the U.S. Senate. So hopefully, after we get those review steps done, in May would be our target date for the introduction of the bill. If we get that done in May, then I have that July would be our long shot date for a hearing in the Senate. That would be very, very quick scheduling. August 2nd to September 8th, they're out for August recess. Now September then will be the last month that they are in session before they go out first. So everybody can go home and campaign either for the president or their own re-elections. So September really is probably a more likely target date for hearing in the Senate. They're going to adjourn on September 27th. They are out until November 12th. They'll be out till the week after the election. They're set to reconvene on November 12th. It's unclear whether the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, that we call it SKIA for short, will be holding hearings during the lame duck. It's somewhat rare, but if we really pushed, I think it could be possible. And then in January, we either have a transition to a second Biden term or a second presidency for Trump. So that is a very quick timeline for the introduction of this bill. In there, we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the PowerPoint as well. We need some resolutions and other letters of support, but we'll start with and go through the PowerPoint with some additional details.
So here's a complete listing so far of our legislative members for the committee that we have. So the purpose of our legislative and advocacy subcommittee is that we will be meeting with our South Dakota congressional representatives and also identify and reach out to potential bill sponsors and assist with legislative advocacy.
This kind of goes through the timeline that I just went through. If you can go through two more, you have this in front of you, so I'll let you look at that one more time. Thank you. So on the outreach to the delegation, our request, we sent these requests in, and we started with the South Dakota congressional delegation because we have to get them on record as what is clearly a no before we go on to other sponsors. There is a sense of respect between members in Congress, and they always ask, well, what about the delegation, where are they? So our specific request when we sent this over, and I was very careful in how we did this, was to discuss the legislation and the effort to return all public lands in the Black Hills to the Lakota. And so when Senator Thune, he declined to meet in person. He offered a staff meeting. We're nailing that down. Senator Rounds declined to meet in person. He offered a staff meeting. Representative Johnson, he actually initially accepted, because one of his scheduler did, but then 4 hours later came back and said, oh, sorry, your schedule has changed. We'll let you know when another opportunity arises. He didn't even offer a staff meeting. So that's not unexpected, right? It's not probably great politics for anyone in the South Dakota delegation to step forward and sponsor this bill. So we are going to move forward. I had gone through at the last meeting a list of potential targets as sponsors. We are reaching out to Senator Schatz, who's the chairman of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. He's a Democrat from Hawaii. Senator Warren, Senator Tester from Montana, although he's got a race on his hands, he may not want to take on a big bill and all the staff work behind that. So we will be doing that, and in the House we're reaching out to Congressman Grijalva. He's the ranking member on the House Natural Resources Committee. He's a Democrat from Arizona, and he is, that committee has jurisdiction over all Indian Affairs legislation in the House of Representatives. Those are our top targets. We will also ask our Native American members, Tom Cole, Sharice Davids, Peltola, Rasheen, some of those are more difficult, but we will ask. I think out of those, the one most likely to say yes is Sharice Davids. She still has a tough race, an unsettled race, I would say, in her state. So she's somewhat cautious about the issues she takes on, but we will ask. So I think the most likely is we will get Congressman Grijalva to be an original sponsor, possibly McCollum. Oh, we're also reaching out to Tina Smith in the Senate, who's on the Indian Affairs Committee. Tina Smith, a Democrat from Minnesota. So that is since we've gone through the South Dakota congressional delegation, that is what we will be doing in the coming weeks. And then beginning to brief the agencies as well. Can you go to the next one, please, Tim? In the next steps, we are looking for resolutions of support that we can, in the briefing that we do what I always call a one-pager or a white paper. It really is a summary of what our ask is, who is supportive, what our timeline is, etc. And so it's very helpful to have resolutions of support from the treaty councils and the tribal governments. So if you have not been able to do that yet, please consider getting those done so we can include those when we're beginning to do our Hill visits. Finalizing the draft legislation, and Tracy's up next with that. I talked over the target sponsors, confirming the sponsors. One of the questions for tribal leaders that we have is several of the tribes have either legal or lobbying teams in DC. Please let us know if you want us to loop them in on this. We didn't want to, I know several of the reps. I've been in DC almost 30 years. So I know, but I don't want to independently reach out to them without permission from the tribal government. So please let Allie or I know if you want us to reach out to them. This is, and I put this in the notes, I referenced that legislative council, and Tracy's going to talk more about this as well when she goes through the draft of the bill. Legislative council will review our draft of the bill. They are a nonpartisan office. They don't formulate policy. What they do is look at the bill, and they, almost all pieces of legislation look somewhat similar, right? They have definitions, they have a purpose, all of those things. And that's what legislative council does. And so I say that, and I told Tracy, I said she's probably going to, they don't usually work with the public, but this may be an extraordinary situation where Tracy is going to have to serve as a resource in terms of correct references, etc. as we work out, the entity, all of those others. But as we draft and work on this language, we have to know that at the end of the day, legislative council is going to be very concerned about legal references, etc. And so they will shape what that final bill looks like. And I wanted to flag that for folks. I think those are right. Okay. That was our last slide, and I'll let Allie wrap it up.
So being that our South Dakota congressional representatives ultimately did not respond favorably to us, we just needed to get that on record. We anticipated them not fully supporting, so I was gonna put a quick plug in. That's something to remember come re-election time. Because this is very important to us, our people, our ancestors, and our future generations. And I think that we need stronger leadership in there that really recognizes that and respects that. And so just keep that in mind. And so from there, it's a good thing because we can move forward from there and continuing to build positive momentum and getting other support, even from other states. And that will say a lot because it will look back at our congressional members and kind of question them, why are you not supporting this for your own tribal nations within your state? And so we've made some good strides within this past month. And we also will be submitting a letter of request to the Great Plains Tribal Chairmen's Association. During our last meeting, we had unanimous consent to do so. There's only 2 of us in that meeting, or 3 of us in that meeting, but I had to plug that in too. So we'll be reaching out to Ms. Gay Kingman and looking to our tribal leaders to get a letter of support to be a supplemental document when we go and meet with congressional members on the Hill. So with that, does anyone else have anything to wrap up? So yes, anyone is and everyone is welcome to join the committee. So if you'd like to join, please feel free to come and either give Holly or myself your email and your contact information, and we'll put you on our listserv. And also, if you wanted the link to the Google Doc with all of our work to keep up with us in real time, please feel free to come and meet with myself or Holly. So with that, thank you all so much for your time and attention, and please feel free to reach out if you have any recommendations as well.
Okay, I want to let everyone know that a lunch ticket has been placed on the tables or handed to you. If you need one, please see the side table. And my brother-in-law, Richard Broken Nose is going to say the meal prayer, and everybody's going to take a little break and eat. Short break. Okay, Richard, watch out.
All right, everybody, we're going to take this down. We're going to break for lunch. We'll be back in about an hour and a half. Thanks so much for joining us.
My brother-in-law here wanted me to represent him, but I don't know how.
Oh, I